Hello everyone, it's me Clayton. I just finished watching episode 4 of X-Men 97. So, after the events of last week, Jubilee is about to celebrate her 18th birthday, but Magneto isn't exactly thrilled about her idea of going to the arcade. So, when Jubilee finds a Yotendo console, a Motendo console, inside of her room, which is basically this world's version of a Nintendo Entertainment System, at least the Super Nintendo 16-bit version, with a bit of the Sega Genesis in its design. Both Jubilee and Roberto get put inside of a giant video game that was created by Mojo, played by David Arago. Mojo has moved on from his attempts at killing the X-Men in the digital world by making a video game for Jubilee and Roberto to go through. It seems that Jubilee and Roberto have no chance to make it through his video game from hell. That is until Abscissa, played by Allison Court, the same actress who played Jubilee in the original 90s series, shows up to rescue both Jubilee and Roberto, and the three of them are able to defeat Mojo inside the video game. And all before Spiral, Mojo's right-hand woman, played by Abby Trott, sends them back to their old world. And afterwards, we see that Storm is trying to recover her powers with the help of Forge, but Forge happens to tell her that he was responsible for creating the nullification, the powerful nullification technology that Executioner got his hands on. So Storm tries to leave his home, only to find out that she's in the clutches of the Adversary, voiced by Alison Seeley Smith, who's the same actress who voices Storm, so that actually makes it a bit creepier that she's essentially listening to a dark reflection of herself in that instance. But Adversary's a demon, so I figured Adversary can sound however it wants to sound. So this episode naturally hits you with a ton of Easter eggs that are references to the X-Men arcade games and other video games from X-Men's past. So if you played those as a 90s kid, you'll get a kick out of a lot of these. Plus, seeing a return for Allison Court, even though she's not the original Jubilee, makes a lot of sense. Especially since Abscissa is basically a future version of Jubilee. So having the two Jubilee actresses work together to defeat the villain here really feels fitting in the end. Plus, Mojo happens to actually fit a lot more in 2024 than he does in the 90s. Even though he was created in the 90s, I think his design and his ridiculously trollish personality still hold up by today's standards. And it was kind of a treat hearing Abby Trott as Spiral, too. Especially considering I watched Demon Slayer, so I'm used to hearing her grunts as Nezuko from Demon Slayer. But I've heard her in other anime roles, too, so it's nice to see a lot of these accomplished voice actors get into these revivals as well. On top of that, the visuals for the video game sequences, as well as Adversary's appearance, really let you know how the upgrade in visual quality has made these scenes all the more trippy and all the more memorable. You will remember Mojo's attack on our two youngest X-Men. You will remember when Adversary captures Storm and has her in its clutches. And considering there's 6 episodes left, there's a lot that they can do with this scenario, especially since the second part of the episode is called Life Death Part 1, so obviously there's a Part 2 coming in later. I have no idea what's going to happen to Storm since she still doesn't have her powers, or what's going to happen with the rest of the X-Men after Jubilee and Roberto get back to them, but this season's been pretty solid so far, so it's definitely a case where I say game on for the gaming sequence, and I have some trepidation with the meeting with a new demon. But let's see what happens next week. See you next time.